The early morning of June 30th, 1908, began like any other in the vast, isolated wilderness of Siberia. Indigenous Evenki people tended their reindeer herds under a calm, unassuming sky. Local trappers and settlers went about their solitary routines, miles from any major city. Suddenly, around 7:17 am local time, the tranquility was shattered in the most spectacular fashion. A colossal fireball, brighter than the sun, blazed a trail across the heavens. Eyewitnesses hundreds of kilometers away described it as a pillar of fire. The object moved with incredible speed, casting eerie, moving shadows on the ground below. Then came the explosion, a cataclysmic event centered near the Podkamanaya Tunguska River. The blast was estimated to be 1,000 times more powerful than the atomic bomb later dropped on Hiroshima. Registered on seismic stations across Europe and Asia, a tremor felt around the world. A shockwave radiated outwards, hot and powerful enough to knock people off their feet over 60 kilometers away. Over 2,150 square kilometers of forest were flattened in an instant. 80 million trees were scorched and knocked down, all pointing away from a central point. The sound was deafening, a series of thunderous claps that echoed for an eternity. For several nights afterward, the sky over Europe and Asia glowed with an unnatural, silvery light. People in London could reportedly read newspapers outdoors at midnight by this strange illumination. The world knew a great event had occurred, but its remote location shrouded it in immediate mystery. Political turmoil in Russia, including World War I and the subsequent Civil War, prevented any prompt investigation. The story of the Great Siberian Blast became a legend, a tale told by trappers and nomads. It wasn't until 1927 that the first scientific expedition, led by Leonid Kulik, reached the site. Kulik was a Russian mineralogist, fascinated by meteorites and tales of the event. He had heard stories of a giant iron mass that had fallen from the sky. The journey was arduous, a testament to the region's profound isolation. After weeks of travel, Kulik and his team arrived at the zone of devastation. What they found was both awe-inspiring and deeply perplexing. A radial pattern of fallen trees stretched for dozens of kilometers. Yet, at the very center, the epicenter of the blast, a strange sight awaited them. The trees there were not knocked over but stood erect, stripped of their branches and bark. They were like a forest of telegraph poles, a silent testament to a downward-acting force. Kulik's primary expectation was to find a massive impact crater. He searched diligently, convinced a giant meteorite was buried beneath the soil. But there was no crater to be found. This profound absence of an impact site became the core of the Tunguska mystery. How could such a massive explosion leave no hole, no discernible fragments of the object? The leading scientific theory settled on the airburst of a celestial body. A meteoroid or a small comet, perhaps 50 to 100 meters in diameter, had entered the atmosphere. The immense pressure and heat of entry caused it to vaporize and explode several kilometers above the ground. This would explain the widespread destruction without an impact crater. The debate then shifted to the object's composition. Was it a stony asteroid or an icy comet? Comet hypothesis elegantly explained the lack of fragments, as ice would have completely vaporized. The glowing nights after the event could be attributed to dust and ice particles scattered high in the atmosphere. The asteroid theory gained support from the discovery of microscopic silicate and magnetite spheres in the soil. These tiny spherules contained high levels of nickel, an element common in meteorites. Perhaps it was a stony body that disintegrated almost completely upon explosion. A more recent variation suggests an iron asteroid grazed the atmosphere, creating the shockwave without impacting. But the lack of definitive proof left the door open for more imaginative explanations. This is where the story of Tunguska takes a turn into the speculative. Could the explosion have been caused by something other than a rock from space? In 1946, science fiction writer Alexander Kazantsev offered a radical new idea. He suggested the Tunguska Event was not a natural phenomenon at all. Instead, he proposed it was the explosion of an alien spacecraft's nuclear engine. He noted the similarity of the blast pattern to that of the Hiroshima atomic bomb. The idea of a disabled ship, its crew heroically trying to avoid a populated area, was compelling. This theory captured the public imagination in a way scientific papers never could. It painted the event not as a random cosmic accident, but as a dramatic, intelligent act. The alien hypothesis suggested a reason for the object's apparent maneuverability and course correction. Some eyewitnesses had described the object as changing direction before it exploded. Scientists, however, have found no credible evidence to support this extraordinary claim. No fragments of any technology, alien or otherwise, have ever been authenticated. The narrative of a crashing UFO remains firmly in the realm of science fiction. Other, even more exotic theories have been proposed over the decades. Physicists once speculated about a tiny black hole passing through the Earth. Such an object would have passed through the planet without creating an impact crater. However, it would have created an exit wound on the other side of the planet, which was never detected. The collision of a piece of antimatter with regular matter was also considered. This would result in total annihilation and a massive release of energy, leaving no residue. These ideas, while intellectually stimulating, lack any supporting evidence. A more terrestrial theory suggested a massive eruption of natural gas from the Earth's crust. 10 million ton cloud of methane could have been ignited by lightning, causing the blast. This vermicular eruption theory, however, is not widely supported by geologists. Even Nikola Tesla and his experiments with wireless power transmission have been implicated by some. The idea is that an accidental discharge from his Wardenclyffe Tower caused the Siberian explosion. This is considered highly improbable and is a favorite among conspiracy theorists. Each new expedition to the Tunguska site seems to deepen the mystery rather than solve it. In the 1960s, researchers found evidence of accelerated tree growth after the event. This suggests radioactive fallout, which could support the nuclear explosion theory. However, more sensitive modern measurements have failed to find anomalous radiation levels. The accelerated growth is now believed to be from the altered environmental conditions. Lake Checo, a small, bowl-shaped lake nearby, was once proposed as a possible impact crater. Italian scientists hypothesized it was formed by a fragment of the main exploding body. They argued the lake's shape and depth were inconsistent with normal geological processes. However, sediment analysis from the lake's bottom suggests it is far older than 1908. So, the mystery of the missing crater persists. Today, the scientific consensus remains firmly with the airburst of a comet or asteroid. It is the simplest explanation that fits the majority of the evidence. The event serves as a powerful and sobering reminder of the threat from near-Earth objects. If the Tunguska object had arrived just a few hours later, it could have obliterated a major European city. The incident spurred international efforts to track asteroids and comets that might pose a danger. Yet, despite the consensus, the allure of the unknown keeps the other theories alive. Tunguska Event is a perfect storm of mystery. A colossal event in a remote place with no witnesses at ground zero. The lack of a smoking gun, a crater, or a large fragment invites endless speculation. Was it a natural, albeit terrifying, cosmic visitor? Or was it something more? A story of alien tragedy, or a failed experiment of immense power? The forest has regrown, covering the scars of 1908. But the questions remain, whispered in the Siberian winds. The truth of what happened that June morning is still locked away in the heart of the taiga. It challenges our understanding of the universe and our place within it. The event remains a powerful symbol of cosmic threat and enduring mystery. Perhaps some questions are destined to remain unanswered. The silence of the Siberian forest holds its secrets close. For over a century, the Tunguska Event has fueled both scientific inquiry and wild imagination. The fireball in the sky ignited a mystery that burns to this day. It was a moment that connected the remote wilderness to the entire planet. The energy released was simply staggering to comprehend. Local reindeer herds were reportedly incinerated by the thermal blast. The stories passed down by the Evenki people spoke of a fire god descending. Their shaman was said to have been away, and thus unable to prevent the catastrophe. Kulik's expeditions were plagued by harsh conditions, including swarms of mosquitoes. He remained convinced until his death that he was searching for a meteorite. The absence of evidence became, for some, evidence of a conspiracy. They argued that the alien wreckage was found and secretly removed by authorities. This narrative adds a layer of human intrigue to the cosmic mystery. The Tunguska site itself is now a protected nature reserve. Life has returned with a strange and resilient vigor. The soil, enriched by the ash of incinerated trees, proved to be fertile ground. But the memory of the Great Fire remains part of the land's identity. It is a landscape defined by a single, catastrophic moment in time. The debate between asteroid and comet continues in scientific circles. Each new piece of data is scrutinized for clues that might favor one over the other. The event highlights how little we knew about our cosmic neighborhood. It was a wake-up call delivered to one of the most remote places on Earth. The atmospheric pressure waves were recorded on barographs in Great Britain. The sheer scale of the event is difficult for the human mind to fully grasp. The forest floor in the central zone was a swampy morass, complicating the search. Beek's team had to build small huts to survive the harsh environment. The alien theory often overlooks the simple power of natural cosmic collisions. We live in a dynamic solar system where such events are inevitable. The Tunguska Event is our best modern example of what a large airburst can do. It provides a crucial data point for planetary defense strategies. The mystery is not just what it was, but also the legacy it left behind. It is a story of science, speculation, and the enduring power of the unknown. The Tunguska enigma continues to captivate and inspire. It reminds us that the universe can touch our world in the most dramatic ways. The final answer may still be buried, not in the soil, but in the ice of a long-vanished comet. Or perhaps it lies in the metallic heart of a shattered asteroid. Whatever the cause, the sky over Siberia on that day bore witness to an extraordinary power. A power that leveled a forest and ignited a century of questions.